Hello, Watchers. For many years now, we have been frightened by various creepypastas and games that are served to us under the guise of harmless entertainment, and at some point they begin to frighten and terrify us. Kitty Kart 64 is a simple racing game where our task is to drive 3 laps as fast as possible. But what if I tell you that we will never be able to do this, and you immediately have the question, why? You will now find out the answer in the fully explained story of Kitty Kart 64. The game starts with a simple menu where we can choose a single-player or multiplayer game. When trying to connect a second player, an error will pop up. Allegedly, the game does not see any second player. We are left with no choice, and we go to play a single-player game. We are tasked to drive 3 laps in a small racing car, driven by a kitty. 3, 2, 1, and here we are racing along the track, paying attention to the map in the lower corner of the screen so we won't lose our way. And then we cross the finish line and expect to be told that 1 lap has already been completed, but nothing changed. We try to drive another lap, and again, nothing changed. It feels like the game is broken, and there is no point in driving these circles. And at some point, we notice smoke and start acting against the rules of the race, driving outside the map to find out where the smoke is coming from. In front of us is a wrecked racing car that crashed into a pole and began to smoke, but there is no one in the driver's seat. Exploring the road outside the map, we come across a pillar with a barely discernible sign with the inscription, Nightmare. The desire to find out what is there becomes stronger, and we go beyond the boundaries of the map, falling into the abyss. We land on a dirty, waste-covered stadium where everything is broken and there is no one around. Moving through the mud, we see a racing car, but also without a driver. We are gradually being sucked into a swamp of waste, and we are falling off the map again. This time we land in the desert, and judging by the map, it's like an ordinary racetrack in the game, driving round and round. Everything starts to change and bug. The whole map starts to crash, lose its textures, and at some point we are thrown off the map. Now we find ourselves in a very strange place, where there are dozens of people lying everywhere, making terrible screams, convulsing, as if they are in pain. Driving deeper, we gradually find ourselves at the border of the map, and again fall beyond it. This time we found ourselves in a dark place where balloons and a distorted inscription, "Congratulations," are hanging everywhere. This time we have a task, namely to burst 30 balloons. Exploding the balloons, we hear children's laughter, but sometimes blood flows from the balloons, and we hear screams. After we have completed the task, our kitten explodes, and then he appears on the bridge at night, and before entering some city, moving along the bridge, we gradually approach the water, and we see a certain rise, and next to it, a sign with the inscription, Nightmare. Having no choice, we fall into the water and fly beyond the boundaries of the map. Now we have landed in the parking, but there is no cars around. We find painted arrows that lead us to an underground. In the underground parking, we also follow the arrows until we find the exit where the finish poster is hanging. That is, we can finally complete a lap or even complete a race. Approaching the finish line, we run into spikes and our wheels deflate. Right at the finish line, we can't move anymore. Somewhere in the distance, we hear someone approaching us, going through all the possible buttons. We are not allowed to make even the slightest movement. Someone is coming to us. Our kitty is lying right at the finish line, covered in blood, and we see the inscription, "Congratulations." I can already see you have a question. What was that all about? Don't worry, I'll explain everything to you now. On the very first map, we saw a crashed car, which hints at an accident, which may have happened to us. If we investigate more closely, then next to the accident, we will find a child's drawing of a car, a sheep, and an abyss. On the next map, we can find a new drawing which shows a sheep in the mud and someone completely painted over. Exploring even more, we will meet a girl who shouts at us not to even try to approach her because she is disgusted by our presence. On the third card, we can meet a bunny who tells us that he doesn't feel anything, but as soon as the map starts to glitch and malfunction, the bunny falls and convulses and tells us that now he finally feels something. On the same map, we can find a new drawing which depicts a pyramid, a black void, and bloody lines. On the fourth map, there are dozens of people screaming in pain everywhere and nothing else. On the fifth map, it's like we're on a holiday where we knock down balls and hear joy, then see blood and screams of people. We can also meet a mouse girl who tells us that she shouldn't be here, and she's not ready to wake up, and then her head explodes like a balloon and leaves a trail of blood. We can find a trophy, and next to it is a drawing depicting a sheep and a dark silhouette holding a sheep by the hand. On the sixth map, moving along the bridge, we find a new drawing with a cat and a sheep's face, and we begin to meet a faceless cat who talks to us in an incomprehensible language. But I managed to decipher his phrases. I decomposed all the phrases from the symbols and substituted letters from the alphabet for each character, starting with the first letter. If the characters were repeated, I indicated the same letter that I assigned to the symbol and designated the empty spaces as a space. After receiving a set of letters, I went to the cryptogram decryptor, where I inserted these letters, and by selecting repeated letters and vice versa, the decryptor picked up the complete phrases that the cat tells us. Hey, don't scare the fishes off. It's not hard to catch a meal here. You should try it sometime. Don't be scared. Won't hurt you. The waters here are soothing. Riding on the bridge, we can find a new drawing in which a sheep is all in tears, and as if tears are flowing from one eye and blood from the other. Also, there is another drawing on the map which shows open eyes at the top and closed eyes at the bottom. On the seventh map, we find torn teeth that hint to us about what will happen to us at the finish line. We see footage of teeth being knocked out when we are beaten by a strange man, as if a hint that we do not have the right to talk. And now, the most interesting part. What if I told you that our kitty in the car is the image of the driver, you and me, who had an accident and took many lives with him, including children's? And since our soul is aware of what has been done, we have fallen into the 9 circles of hell of Dante's Divine Comedy, a poem about man's awareness of his sins, where we pay for everything we have done. Starting from the title screen, we find ourselves in limbo, the first circle of hell, in an endless race that will never end. The first map is the second circle of hell, lust, with bright, joyful colors and music, and a picture where we are a sheep on the edge of the abyss. The second map is the third circle of hell, gluttony, dirt that makes us slow and helpless, and in the drawing we are like evil, and we are even told not to approach, afraid to get dirty in the mud. The third map is the fourth circle of hell, greed. The Egyptian pyramids symbolize wealth, symbolism in the form of the fact that the victim feels only pain, and the picture shows the descent into hell. The fourth map is the fifth circle of hell, anger, rage, agony, screams of people before death. The fifth map is the sixth circle of hell, heresy, false teacher. We see balloons, a holiday. We raised children, and we destroyed everything. And in the drawing, we made friends with death. The sixth map is the seventh circle of hell, cruelty. The cat on the bridge is like a reflection of us. We are not alive. We are murderers. We have no teeth, no mouth to say something, and calm water, because we are doomed to wander alone. And in the drawings there are tears, blood, light, and darkness. The seventh map is the eighth circle of hell, deception. They show us that we have no teeth. We have no right to speak, and the arrows are like a direction into a trap. The eighth map is the ninth circle of hell, betrayal. The arrows lead to the finish line, but it remains inaccessible, and only death comes to meet us, brutally beating us, and the phrase, "Congratulations, you did it," as a mockery that we are to blame for everything. I decided to look at the game files and found an unused map called Hell, a place that we will never get to because we will experience 9 circles of hell. I also found hidden pictures in the game files. In this picture, we are in the image of a sheep, completely naked and behind bars, as a symbolism of what happened through our fault. And here, we see the figurative destruction of life as a reference to the pyramid map. And in the last hidden picture, there is a clock and the number 9 everywhere as a reference to the 9 circles of hell that will repeat forever.